Inside Natural Bodybuilding is presented by MTS Nutrition, Fit Body U, Chosen Athletic Apparel, and TigerFitness.com. Now here's your host, Mike Superhuman Newman.
All right. So we got a very, very special edition tonight because we always run this show on Thursdays, right? But it's Friday. We just had a show last night. You guys are still recovering from the Brittany Anderson episode. Some of you haven't gotten around to watching it yet, so make sure you watch that episode if you haven't already, because it's right below this post here, down a little ways. But it's a very, very special edition tonight of Inside Natural Bodybuilding. And we're going to have more special editions coming your way as the season goes on, because as the season gets hot, it starts to heat up real quick. And sometimes we just can't cool things off. So we just stay hot all year round. But I've told a lot of competitors over the years, I mean, if you're getting ready for, especially the pros, you're getting ready for a big pro show, you get a big pro show coming up, and you think you know all the competitors in this show. You know, either guys you've competed with in the past or girls, people from your gym, people from your area, competitors you competed against last year. You kind of have an idea of who's showing up. So you kind of think, well, you know, if this guy shows up, I'm probably not going to win. But if only these guys show up, I'm probably going to get the win. And you kind of think about it for a little bit. But there's always one person who you don't see coming. There's always that hungry lion climbing up the mountain, the dark shadow, if you will, that just comes in and nobody's seen them coming, right? And just beats out everybody. Well, that's what's taking place right here, right now, because I didn't see this one coming. But the people have spoken. Over 1,000 people have spoken. We had it was a very busy and intriguing competitor to watch in 2021 contest. Our guest tonight got over 1,000 votes. So others seen him coming, but I didn't see him coming. But you're going to see him here real quick after these messages. I'm Mike Newman, and this is Inside Natural Bodybuilding. Okay, so I didn't see this one coming. People have spoken. The hype was there. I'm like, man, how's this guy getting so many votes? I've never heard of him. I've never seen him on stage before. And I've been to a lot of shows and didn't even cross my mind. Never even heard this guy's name before, right? But you're not going to forget him now. You're not going to forget him after this episode. You're not going to forget him after this season, because Richie Lopez, Brandon Lirio, Logan Foote, Joe Lucero, all you guys and more, got to watch out for this guest tonight, because he's going to come in hot. He's already got himself a win as well. Not only did he get voted in as the competitor to watch in 2021, he also goes out shortly after he gets voted in, and he wins the OCB Muscle Madness. So come on now. We're going to talk all about it right here, right now. Welcome to the show for the first time. He is the number one competitor to watch in 2021. Here he is, Vince. Woo! Sanders. Yeah, come on in, Vince.
Hey. How's it going, Mike?
Flying by the seat of my pants. I'm always flying by the seat of my pants. Even though it's Friday, I'm busy at the gym, and it's always nonstop, man. But glad to have you on. Glad to have you on the show. Thanks for your time. So let's talk about how you got so many people to vote you in as a competitor to watch. Where did your fan base come from, and how did you build that up?
It started with friends and family. Once I saw that I was in the competition, I was actually down by like 30 votes. And then in my head, I'm thinking, man, there's no way I'm going to win this competition. So what I did was reach out to close friends and family first, and then all of a sudden it just started to spread like a wildfire, and everyone started sharing it. I started with Facebook, then I went to Instagram, then I went to Snapchat, and then like I said, it just started rolling over, and I was really surprised at how many people voted for me, and I thank every single person that voted for me as well. And like I said, everything just fell into place. And
well, you get that part done because a lot of being a competitor, if you want that extra exposure, is to promote yourself. I think a lot of competitors, they either win a show and they just sit back and they wait for opportunities to fall in their lap. But the competitors who get on the covers of magazines and who get the exposure, who get the sponsorships, are the ones who go out and talk to the people who promote themselves. Because part of being a competitor is promoting yourself, right? That's how John Hansen got to where he was. He was really good at promoting himself. And let me remind you, fans watching the show, it was one person got one vote. It wasn't one of those popularity baby contests where the same person can vote every single day. This Reader's Choice Awards, well, you can't see it now, and I'm not going to turn the key. I guess I can turn it real quick. Reader's Choice Awards, I got that hanging up from last year. We won that last year, but in that kind of a contest, the same person can vote every single day. So that's why I didn't participate in my local Reader's Choice Awards this year, because I didn't feel comfortable when I knew the same person could vote every single day of the contest. I want the most amount of individual votes. You know what I mean? So I didn't even participate in that contest this year. But the year we did participate, we got the win. But we had to go out and get a lot of votes too. But I did encourage people to only vote once. I'm like, if I'm going to win this contest, if we're going to win this contest, let's just vote once. But I'm sure a few people voted a few times. But it's even more impressive when you only get the individual votes. You know, because then you really know you're really the people's choice. You're really the award winner because you got the most amount of individual votes. So that feels good there. And part of it is because you went out and promoted yourself. Okay, well, let's talk about and something else I find interesting. You won the Reader's Choice. You won the Competitor Watch in 2021, and then you went out and competed in the OCB Muscle Madness. So before we even knew who you were in natural bodybuilding, you got yourself an overall win. So if you were thinking to yourself, well, can this Ben Sanders, can he live up to the hype? Well, he won the OCB Muscle Madness, so come on now. Let's talk about the OCB Muscle Madness and what all went down at that show.
So it was in Phoenix. We had to fly down. I had some family members with me. The process was just an emotional roller coaster ride because what I envisioned it to be, we always think of something being like a perfect picture, but when I got there, it wasn't that. I had some complications go on with signing up and then like the polygraph, and there was a point to where I thought that I wasn't going to be able to compete for a pro card. So then we were thinking about switching me over to bodybuilding or men's physique just so I can compete for a pro card. But like I said, my main thing was just trying to like keep my focus because, like I said, my emotions were just raging all over the place because I had prepped for so long to just compete for my pro card and wasn't able to do it. So like that just hit me. And then we actually had another guy drop down to classic physique. That way that category can earn a pro card. So
gotcha. Okay, I was going to ask that question next because there's got to be a certain amount of competitors in each class.
Right.
And what was it, 5 or so, I imagine?
There was 3.
3? Got to have at least 3, yeah. You can't go beyond. Because sometimes it's a matter who's, like sometimes I've seen it to where one competitor shows up, he looks like he could be a pro, but there's nobody else on stage with him. And he came there to compete for a pro card. It's not his fault other competitors didn't show up. It's one of those years. It's not even one of those years. It's just a unique year where you really can't predict who's going to compete in these shows. So I would imagine, 3 would be the minimum number, but it's good to even put some kind of standard on it because you can't just give a pro card if you're by yourself typically. But sometimes, if it's a head judge or promoter, they know they've been to the world championship. Well, this guy looks like he could compete as a pro. I've seen it go a bunch of different directions, but it's good they made you get a third competitor in there, and that's why the complications were there because you didn't almost get that pro card. And classic physique is your division. Then you didn't want a pro card in bodybuilding, men's physique, because classic physique is your niche, right? Is that what you're talking about here?
Right. So my thing is, I just wanted to compete, and at one point they were gonna do like an override and say that I can earn it with only 2 people in there. But me, I like competition. I like to go after it, And once I heard that, I was like, I just don't want this handed to me. So that's why I was going to go up and do the bodybuilding. I mean, there's a couple more poses, but I was definitely confident in myself that I could go in and put up a fight, whether if it was bodybuilding or men's physique. I do men's physique as well. So just overall, like I was ready for whatever happened, and I came down there to compete. That's what I was going to do. So.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Good for the OCB, man, for sticking to their guidelines of having a minimum of 3. Because I've seen a lot of organizations give away pro cards with only 1 competitor. Now, this 3rd competitor who came to Classic Physique in order to make it a pro qualifier, did they have to kind of go out and recruit this guy, or did this guy kind of sort of want to do Classic Physique anyway, or did somebody kind of talk him into doing Classic Physique?
I have no idea how that worked. I don't know what he was told or what happened, or I don't know. I guess it was a discussion between him and the promoters, or if he heard something else, or if they reached out to other competitors to see if they wanted to compete. But
one time, man, I was at this, it's been a few years, an NAMBF show, and there were 4 competitors in this class. And the NAMBF, they wouldn't give out a pro card unless there were 5 competitors in this particular class. And there was a guy in the audience. I knew he was in decent shape. He was a Team Wilson athlete, coached by Cliff Wilson, following macros all year round. Lee Kirkwood was his name, right? And Lee, I was the expediter. I was still expediter before I was even judging or anything. I was an expediter. I said, Lee, man, I know you're in shape. I really need you to do this class just so we can make it a pro qualifier. Can you compete? And he did, man. He went from the audience to on stage. And I think he got something like 3rd place. So he beat out 2 competitors. Didn't even plan on competing that day. So Lee Kirkwood, I'll never forget that story, my man. He's always in shape. Team Wilson athletes are. So nonetheless, it all turned out good for you. Now, was Classic Physique the only division you competed in then?
What was that?
Was Classic Physique the only division you competed in then? You didn't cross over and do anything else?
Yeah, they don't allow you to do crossovers in any like another division, but you can do a crossover in the same division. Like, say for instance, if I wanted to do like novice Classic Physique, I could do that.
Yeah, we just did the open and that was it.
Yeah, I need the open class for sure.
Yeah, I like when people can just do one class. They don't have to do every single class. They just need, because a lot of people just want to do masters and novice. That way they for sure get a trophy in case they don't place in the open. But if you have the confidence that you know you can probably go in the open and do well, and even if you don't, you'll know where you stand. Those are the kind of competitors that get my attention because they're so confident they don't need the novice division. They know they're open competitors, so why even compete with the novices? You know, and if they get beat pretty bad in the open, then at least they find out where they stand. So that always gets my attention when competitors can do that. And plus, it's like you see all these crossovers and you see the same competitors competing against each other, but then in the open, there's usually one that didn't compete in the novice or the masters, and that's usually the one that takes home the prize. Not always, but usually the one that doesn't do so many classes is the one that takes it home. Okay, so you got the OCB Muscle Madness, you got your pro card now. Did you specifically want to get your pro card in the OCB, or what made you choose the OCB Muscle Madness?
I wanted to get it in the OCB. So going back, like I'm registered to do 6 shows this year. And what I do is like what I'm having done is like a map just planned out of things that I want to do. So pretty much this was like a step of the ladder to where I wanted to be. My overall goal was to get my ticket into the Yorton Cup. So with me winning that show and getting my pro card, I'm able to do the Yorton Cup and compete against those guys in open. Because like I said, I want those top guys. I want those big guys. I want those names that I've been looking at for years and those guys that have been on stage. Like I really want that competition. So my next step, I want to do the Natural Olympia, which is through the PNBA. So that's where I'm going now to get my ticket to do the Olympia, to get on stage with Richie and Brandon. Like those guys are amazing. I've been following those guys for years, like literally just kind of like stalking them, just looking at their moves, looking at what they're doing, and I'm just inspired by the things that they're doing. And I look forward to stepping on stage with them this year. So.
Yeah, well, good. Yeah, well, practice that posing then, because Brandon and Richie, they're both superb posers. Brandon just has to hold his poses the whole time he's on stage. When he does pose, he's superb poser. And Richie Lopez, of course, one of the best. So you got 6 shows on your radar. Well, you got to qualify for the Natural Olympia first. Even with the OCB Pro card, I believe you got to do a PNBA show before the Natural Olympia. What show do you think you're going to do to qualify for the Natural Olympia?
So I got 2 shows mapped out for the PNBA. The one most recent is the Arizona Copper Classic, which is March 27th. And then I'm going to do the breast cancer awareness one in May. And I believe that's May 22nd, which will qualify me for the Natural Olympia.
Yeah, that's one of the bigger. And that's good. If you can qualify to show like the Diana Caicos' cancer awareness show, then you know you're ready. Because if you can get even a top 2 at Diana's show, you're probably going to place fairly well at the National Olympia. So see what you can do there.
Right.
So definitely making a name for yourself, and that's going to be one of the bigger shows on your radar. Now, this is not, you're new to the national bodybuilding scene, but you have competed in the NPC in the past.
Right.
What's your status like in the NPC, and how many shows have you done in the NPC?
So the NPC, I have done 3 shows. The first one I did was in 2019. That was the Northwest Championship. First ever show. I placed 4th in Open Classic Physique, and then I placed 2nd in Men's Physique overall. And then I just felt like I was just there, you know. And then I did another show, which was in California, which was the muscle contest. Placed 4th in there, and then 2nd again. And then the biggest show that I did in NPC was the Idaho Cup. It was huge. They did like first call outs and all that, and we had like over 30 competitors in the class, and it was just crazy.
Yeah.
And just like everyone came out, and we had a couple guys from our gym that did the show as well. I placed well, what others would say, but like anyone who's competitive, like a 4th place and a 6th place is not going to get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I do a show, obviously I want to win, and that one, the Idaho Cup just kind of hit me hard because I knew that I lost to some guys that had the extra help, you know, and that was one of the things that made me switch over to natural bodybuilding, to make the playing field fair, and that like no one has an advantage over me because of what they're doing. So that's why I switched over to natural bodybuilding.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I mean, I've seen some natural guys do some NPC shows and do well. A lot of times it's to their advantage because they rely on the food and the conditioning to get them to win. And a lot of times some competitors in the NPC might not diet quite as hard. So a lot of natural competitors are known for dieting harder, which is usually going to get them leaner. And if they don't lose too much muscle, they can do really well in the NPC shows, which I've seen in the past. But yeah, they have their list, set of guidelines, and pretty much every organization has their own set of guidelines. You know, everybody competing in the PMBA or the OCB or WMBF, NGA, you still got to read their posing criteria, their list of banned substances, and all that good stuff, just to make sure you're gonna not have any issues along the way. But yeah, you got a good thing on your radar, because the Orton Cup, if you're gonna do something, that's one of the biggest world championships out there. And not only do they have quality competitors, they always have a deep lineup of competitors too. You know, it's not like there's only 1 or 2 or 3 in each class. There's usually like 6 or 7 in each class that can all fight for the top spot. It's usually never a clear-cut winner. It all comes down to who shows themselves off the best while they're on stage. So good call there. Plus the National Olympia too. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's
Vegas this year, and that's one of the biggest international. That's the biggest international competition in the entire physique competition industry. So you're certainly going to find out where you stand this year. Well, where did your hunger for competing? And were you an athlete in high school and college and all that? What got you into competitive physique competition?
I've been an athlete my whole life. I was a football guy. Did the college thing, did the pro thing, did semi-pro, and then after that, things weren't really going anywhere. And then I just kind of felt like I was running out of time. Lifting, I've always had that in my background. In high school, I was actually a powerlifting state champ in the state of Washington as a sophomore.
Wow.
Broke all the records in high school. Like, still got records up there now. Like, if you go there, you can see my name.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, still listed. So like I said, lifting has always been a thing for me. And one day I was at the gym, and someone asked me about competing, and I was like, no way. Like, I don't want to do that. And then I saw my friend. His name is actually Will Morris. He was a football guy too. He was actually a lineman, and he got cut down, and the guy had abs, and he was shredded. And I was just like, wow. So like, this dieting thing actually works, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it works.
And, he started his personal training career, and he was selling meal plans, and I bought one from him for $10, and I stuck to it, followed it to a T. Next thing you know, I got abs, and then I'm just like, hey, you know what? I'm going to step on stage now. And then from there, it just lit a fire under me, man.
Yeah, you got to feed the machine, give the body what it needs, So when you were playing sports, did you always lift weights all year round or only in the off season? Did things change up a bit? Because here I own a gym in south of Chicago, and I get a lot of teenagers that come in here. But when sports started, when football starts, when soccer starts, when baseball starts, they quit going to the gym altogether. And I'm like, well, you can't just work out a few months out of the year. Maybe you got to do something different with your routine to work around your practices and your games. You want to prevent injury, so maybe you don't go as heavy. How did you work out during the season too, and how did you work that into your routine?
Yeah, I worked out 24/7. Like my goal was, like, as the season went on, I tried to get stronger. So the first game you saw me, the next game it's like he was getting better, he's getting stronger. That's because I stayed in the weight room. Like I said, it was good for my body to get the blood flowing through my body, and just to help me perform on the field, because like all that stuff's important. Once you stop lifting, it's kind of like you lose all the strength and the ability that you had, and it's don't make sense to me. There's always kids like that and people like that on teams, and they may have a God-given talent to not do that, but I wasn't one of those fortunate ones. So I literally worked, you know what I mean? And I was known as like a workhorse, especially on the field and in the weight room, just capitalize on everything to win and to help my team. So that's what I was going to do.
Yeah, it's usually just a matter of them not believing they have enough time. It's not because they're given God-given anything. It's because, like a lot of people, they just don't think they have the time. And a lot of times they don't have the drive to juggle school and sports and going to the gym. So you got to have that drive, because that's just what it takes you to the top. I always tell them that if you lift during the season, you're going to have an edge over your opponents and your teammates, because most of your teammates and most of your opponents, they're not lifting weights, but if you do, then you'll have that edge. Yeah.
Right.
So,
and most of the times, like now, it's mandatory. Like we went to school and we were up working out at 5 a.m. running sprints in the snow. Like our coaches were like on us about like working out and doing our lifts and doing what we were supposed to do to stay healthy. So,
okay, yeah, good stuff. Now, if you got these 6 shows, and if you're doing the World Championship shows at the end of the year, what is your next show coming up?
That's the Arizona Copper Classic, which is March 27th, and that one is in Sierra Vista, Arizona.
Okay. So you're pretty much, because you're not really going to have an off season per se this year, right? You're just going to get lean and stay lean. Do you have a strategy as to what you're going to? Are you just going to stay conditioned, stay lean all year round, stick to your diet all year round, cheat meals or anything like that? How is that all going to work into keeping you in the competing condition throughout the whole entire year?
So since the first show that I did and the next one coming up is literally like 4 weeks out from each other. So this one I've been talking with my coach, just trying to figure things out now. It is struggle. It is hard. It's pretty much just like a science project at this point. But the show that I do in May, I'll have 2 months to get everything together. And then after May, I'll have a 5-month break. But the hardest thing right now is trying to figure out what to do for my body within this 4 weeks. And like I said, I just been we went back to what we were doing at 4 weeks out for my last show, and we're gonna rock with that for this week. And then depending on how my body reacts, we're just gonna either stick with it or put new things in and just kind of just go from there. But right now it's just kind of up in the air trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Now, knowing you got a show, not too far, I guess if you're 4 weeks out, you could probably go off track for one meal. But a lot of people, depending on how close the show is, they may or may not go off track the Saturday night of the show, and certainly not the Sunday. But what's your strategy for getting back on track after a show? Do you get back on track that night, or do you wait until the next day or Monday? Explain that. I'll be right back.
All righty. So what I did is we had a show on Saturday. I went out. I had a slice of pizza and a burger. For my desserts, I didn't want to go too heavy on anything, so I kind of just stuck to like the protein cookies and like the Nick's ice cream, the Halo Top. So that way I'm able to get a little bit of sweets, but nothing too crazy that's gonna, add a lot of fat and sugar into my diet. But my main thing is like I don't have a problem eating the same thing and eating my diet, my meal plan now. Like I actually enjoy it. So I guess that's a benefit that I have, and just being able to use barbecue sauce. So if I'm able to put barbecue sauce, like something that sounds so simple,
Tell
if
me
I'm able
about
to put barbecue sauce on my rice and chicken, to me that's like, hey, that's a gourmet meal. You know what I mean? Because like when I'm prepping hard, like I don't get that barbecue sauce. So now it's just like the little things that I can do now, like make me so happy, you know, as a competitor. So
Hold on. Yeah, I'll be right with you. That's the Ronnie Coleman style stuff right there. And yeah, even some things like mustard. You know, I like to put jardinera on some of my food, but that adds to the fats. But if I need to increase my fats a little bit, I'll put some jardinera in my rice or in whatever. I think it makes everything taste better. Do you actually have a prep coach, a nutrition coach, and all that?
Yeah. So my coach, his name's Isaac Strike. He's literally a mastermind. Like he'll put together a workout plan every single week as well as my meals. He'll adjust my cardio, and he's literally just like a scientist to me, because like out through the week I just see different changes in my body, different lines coming up, and so I thank him a lot. He has a lot to do with the way I look on stage, and he's been awesome at what he does.
I would imagine so. I mean, you look like you kind of just keep yourself in prime time condition all year round. You seem like you stay lean. You got a fast metabolism and all that. How much cardio does he have you do?
So we started with 25 minutes a day after or after a workout. Then as we got closer, I'd say probably about like 6 weeks out, we upped the cardio. So we would do 30 minutes of fasted cardio in the morning, and then another 25 minutes after a workout. And me, I'm a cardio guy with the athletic background. It's kind of just something I've always done. And like I don't mind cardio, like not at all. Besides, like obviously when you get to that last week when you have no carbs and you're just still pushing out that cardio, it gets harder. But during the prep up until then, like I'm completely fine with doing cardio. Like I don't mind it at all. Like I like it. So
well, suffer now and be a champion forever.
Exactly.
And the OCB Muscle Madness, that's your first big win, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff there. And did the judges tell you anything that you might need to improve on in order to excel at the next level? What'd they say?
So it's funny you say that. I actually sent them an email a couple hours ago to get feedback from all of them. I mean, even though I won, like I said, I want to get that feedback back for when I step on stage with those guys, because I've made a ton of mistakes and I know that, you know what I mean? But those guys like Brandon and Richard, they're not going to make those mistakes. They're going to be on point. They're going to hit every single thing that they do, and they're going to look great doing it. So it's like I need every single bit of advice that I can to compete with these guys, because you'll get exposed. Like you think you're good, but when you step on stage with guys like those, you will see a difference.
Oh, yeah. You look good at the gym, and you look good in your bathroom mirror. You even look good backstage in the pump-up room. But on stage, when you're with those guys next to you on your right and on your left-hand side, then you all kind of blend in. Then who stands out when you're up against the best? And Richie's hungry, man. He's the hungry lion. Richie Lopez. Because I had him pegged to win last year, and I was building him up a year because I was certain he was going to win because his posing and the way his genetics and his small waist and the way he makes him appear, he makes himself appear on stage. He just has it down. He posed every single day of the year last year and still didn't get the win. So I know he's really hungry this year. He's going to do what it takes. So you're going to be on stage with those guys to find out where you stand with them. And it's going to be interesting to see how it all fares out, because you're going to be up against some of the country's best and some of the best international competition as well, assuming they can fly in by that time.
Right.
So what do you do for a living?
I am a student right now. I'm in a dental school, and I'm also a caregiver. So between the two, that's what I bounce back and forth between, and being a father of two little girls as well. So.
Oh, you got two. How old are they?
One is 2 months, so pretty fresh, and then I have a 4-year-old.
Wow, nice, man. So you're juggling, because a lot of people that have kids just don't make time for the gym. But if you really want it bad enough, if you make a lifestyle out of it, it's just what you have in you. It can be done. So you're juggling not only going to the gym, but trying to be a top classic physique competitor, going to the gym and doing everything else you do, going to school and 2 kids. And a lot of people would just be like, well, I got kids, so I just don't have time for school. I don't have time for the gym. How do you juggle all of that maybe other people could get some advice from you on.
It's hard. It's very hard. The main thing is making sure that your family knows what you're doing and what you want to accomplish. Because there's times where like it's gonna get hard and it's gonna get to a point to where like you're struggling to juggle everything. But if you have a family behind you that understands that, hey, dad needs to go do this, dad needs to go do that, and they're fully behind me, they support me. So when I'm on my way to the gym, hug and kiss the girls, my 4-year-old, to say, daddy, go get them, get an extra rep for me. So like those little things right there just kind of motivate me. But really, overall, you just got to have a good schedule, you know what I mean? And make time. And there's going to be times where you're going to have to give up sleep. There's going to be times where you're going to have to get up earlier to go to the gym just so you can have that time in the late afternoon to play with your kids or get homework done or to go to work. It's just it never stops. You know what I mean? It's always, you're always thinking about your next move to plan things out.
Yeah. How's the 4-year-old like being a big sister?
Oh, she's loving it. She's trying to, she wants to play with her so bad, but we try to tell her like, she's too young, but she wants her to go outside and play and jump on a trampoline and all that. But we're just trying to get her to understand that, like she's too young. It'll come to a time where you guys can play, but right now it's just she wants to eat and sleep.
Yeah, tell me about it. Oh, I know all about that. Well, it's good you're leading by example. And I only got one daughter. She was an only kid growing up, so no siblings to keep her busy. So when the 2-month-old gets older, the 4-year-old's really going to help keep her occupied, because when my daughter was coming up, she's 11 years old now. But man, when she was 4, 5, 6, 7, she would play with Barbie dolls and pro wrestling action figures, and I had to be the one to play with her and keep her busy. I couldn't take her on vacation and just chill because nobody was there to keep her occupied. So I took her to Clearwater Beach, Florida, and I couldn't relax because I had to keep her occupied. So with 2 of them, they'll keep each other occupied, and then you can kind of get some downtime here and there. But yeah, definitely good stuff, and family is everything. What about are you married? Do you have a girlfriend? What do you got going on there?
I have a spouse, and like I said, she's behind me as well. She fully behind me, and she works hard. I can't thank her enough for what she does. And like I said, when I'm at the gym, she's watching the kids, and two kids at the same time, like it's a struggle. And most of the time I'm spending about 2 to 3 hours at a gym, and just to have her at the house taking care of the kids is huge. Like even her mom too as well. She helps out. Like if I have the girls and she's at work, I'll drop the kids off at grandma's house. And said the family is the biggest thing, because that's what you're gonna need in order to with so many things.
Gotta love having grandma there for support. My little girl had 2 grandmas that always helped out, and so it's nice when the grandmas want to spend time with their grandkids, because not everybody's that fortunate. Not all grandparents want to spend time with their grandkids. Does your spouse work out as well?
Not too much. I try. One thing I don't want to do is push it on her, and I know that she's tired and right now going through a healing process. She has spoke about it, but she's dieting, something that we've been working on. But as far as like getting into the gym and stuff, it's one step at a time.
Well, I always prefer to be with somebody who has their own life going on. They don't got to be a gym rat like me. I want my own life. If she has her own life, that works out just fine for me, as long as she's supportive. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people are gym rats. They go to the gym, they're competitors, and they don't have that spousal support, and it makes it so much harder when the spouse doesn't support them. You're with somebody, you got kids with them, you've been together for a decade or whatever it is, but then you don't have their support, and it makes it hard for some competitors, but you got that spousal support. So even though she doesn't go to the gym herself very much, she still supports you. And that's really what matters most. Just be supportive, be encouraging as a spouse. And that's really all you can do, is support each other to be themselves,
Right. And I like it too, because it's like when I go to the gym, it's kind of like my away time. Like that's me. That's my time. Like I don't have to worry about anything else, and it's just kind of like my time to get away. You know what I mean? And like that's the way I relax, is to go to the gym and get to work.
So when you go to the gym, do you put your headphones on and put your own music in and go to town, or do you just whatever the gym is playing, you listen to that music? How's your training process work out?
I'm definitely one of those guys that put the headphones in and just go to town. And what I'm doing now is if I like my gym friends, because sometimes I just literally just get in straight tunnel mode, and then it's if I have my hood on with my headphones,
Don't talk to me.
don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. But if it's like, if I'm just wearing my headphones a little bit more open, then that's kind of like a cue to talk, or I'll say what's up, give a head nod. But if I walk past you and my head's down or I'm looking at my phone, it's like I'm doing that for a reason. Like that's a sign like, hey, I'm in the zone. I'm here to work. That's what I'm doing.
I can understand that.
Yes,
At my gym at Fit Body, if any of you viewers are ever in Chicago, take a trip down to Fit Body. It's in Bourbon, Illinois, where the Chicago Bears used to practice at. I got a sign up in the gym that says, if members do not make eye contact, and if they have headphones in, don't say a word to them, right? Don't make eye contact. They have headphones in. Don't say nothing to them. That sign's hanging up at the gym. That's just gym etiquette in my book. But, man, you put the hoodie on, that's even a step further. No eye contact, headphones are in, and the hoodie's on. That means the blinders are on. I can't see nothing. You know, I'm just focused on what's in front of me, focusing on the task at hand. Okay, I like the sound of that. Well, what kind of music do you listen to when you go to the gym and have the headphones in?
It really depends on my mood. Like with bodybuilding, it's a roller coaster of emotions. So sometimes I'll put on R&B, I'll put on some rock, I'll put on some hip hop music, or sometimes I'll just listen to a motivational speech, because sometimes I just need that, and it really just depends on my mood or what I'm hitting that day. Or if it's a leg day, I definitely need that extra uppity, because it's leg days are just leg days. I don't need to speak too much about that, but I definitely need something that's gonna hype me up and get me going. So, but other than that, I mix it up. I probably have about like 4 or 5 different playlists depending on how I'm feeling. So
depending on your mood.
Yeah.
I can generally listen. And well, if I work out at my own gym, I don't even have the headphones on, because somebody's always going to want something. A lot of times I can get through a workout without somebody saying anything to me, but I don't have the headphones in because I want members to be able to come up to me. But I still get it done for the most part. I can pretty much listen to anything. I don't care if opera music's playing, or it doesn't matter what's playing. As long as there's sound going on, that's all I really need. But if I'm a Stairmaster or something for 30 minutes undisturbed, I love those motivational speeches. Taking motivational speeches on YouTube. And if you're in a bad mood or you're just feeling down, man, listen to that for 20, 30 minutes. That gets you going, and that changes the course of your entire day.
Absolutely.
So you viewers, if you haven't tried it yet, type in motivational speeches on YouTube and give those a listen at some point. And you mentioned working out when you're tired earlier too. I mean, sometimes you got the school going on, you got the kids, you got the family you're juggling, you got to spend time with the family too. Sometimes you got to work out early in the morning, I would imagine. So when you're tired, you would rather be in bed. What makes you? Because the difference between people who are tired and go to the gym and those who stay in bed, there's a big difference. Because if you want to be the champion, even though you're tired, you don't feel like it, you got to do it anyway. So what's your thought process when you're tired in the morning, but you still got to hit the gym? You don't really even try it. You're not even in that mindset to talk yourself out of it. Let's talk about that process real quick.
Right. So that happens all the time. I'd say probably like 3 times out of the week, and I just feel like you just got to have discipline. And there's some times where I'll pull up to the gym and I'll just sit in my car for about 20, 30 minutes, however long it takes, to get my mind ready, to get my body ready, to get focused, to get dialed in, and to do what I got to do. And sometimes, like I say, I'll play that motivational speech. I'll go on YouTube and look for something to get me up, because it's like I don't feel like working out every day. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of stuff that happens. But in reality, you got to find something that can get you going. You know what I mean? Whether it's you just got to take a foot out of the car and walk through that gym and then get you going. Or after the first set or whatever the case may be, just take the first step. And then when you look back at it, you can say, oh, man, it wasn't that bad. I'm glad I did it. So I always keep that in the back of my mind on those days that I don't feel like doing anything, as well as speaking on a competition level. Like now I have to do this because I want to be that top guy. You know what I mean? So that's all the motivation I need right there.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Because if you're not working out hard, or if you're not hitting your macros, you're not following the diet, somebody else is, and you're going to see that person while they're on stage.
Exactly.
Suffer now, be a champion forever. You might not feel like it, but you're capable and you can get it done. And I would imagine you're more tired with school too, because not only are you juggling work and a family, but you also got school in the mix. Well, how many hours of school are you going to? And it's pretty much all online, I would imagine. How's that going for you?
We do online, and then we do some classes. A lot of the classes are just lectures. We had a class that's like 3 hours, and I hope that my teacher isn't
Yeah.
watching this, but she'd go on a lecture and like she would just go through a slideshow for about 3 hours, and I'm like fighting to stay awake in class, and it's just, it's just one of those things. And I try to take an energy drink and get through it, but those lecture classes are, oh man, that's probably like the hardest thing, is just trying to stay awake when you're going through a hardcore prep and then going to school. So
wow, a 3-hour lecture, that's insane, man.
Yeah.
How much school do you got left before you're finished?
So I graduate in June.
Sweet, you're almost there then, huh? So the finish line's like right there.
Right, yeah, I'm gonna keep pushing, we'll get there.
Well, and then after that, you can really focus on competing and just family and the gym and work, and that's it, because you'll have school out of the way. That's good stuff. I always found it better to go to school in person. I had the option to do online classes, but I'm like, I think I'll just learn better if I'm there in person. So when I was able to do that, I always went to the classes when I could. I did a couple online classes, but I always fared better actually going there in person. Do you do better online, do you think?
I'm definitely an in-person type of guy, just because that's how we grew up. Like everything was in person, but now things are changing. Now everything's online, and it's a flip for everyone that we're trying to adjust to. But I would definitely rather be in person, and just get that. It's just something about being in front of a teacher versus just looking through a computer screen. It just it doesn't sit right with me, but we got to do what we got to do. Well,
it's kind of like people try to work out at home, but there's too many distractions at home, but when you go to the gym, you're there for a reason. And there's only really one thing you can do at the gym is get a workout. And so you're at the gym anyway, so you're there to work out. If you go to school for an in-person class, you're there for one purpose, to sit and learn and listen to the lecture from the instructor. So it's like, maybe that's it right there. But I always felt like it took more time and it wasn't quite as convenient, but I feel like I got more out of it. Nonetheless. And when you're at home, there's can be more distractions, but it's also more, it has its ups and downs, I guess. But you're going to be done in June, so that's going to be a plus. And what state do you live in?
I'm in Oregon.
Yes, wow,
sir.
You're in Oregon, so you don't pump your own gas, and they still pump your gas out in Oregon, don't they?
Yeah, so it's weird. So at first, when I first moved here, it was weird to me. But when you go out of state, I find myself sitting at a gas pump, just waiting. Like, hey, who's gonna come pump my gas? So we kind of get spoiled, but I love it when it's cold outside or it's raining or something.
Right. Anybody coming to pump my gas? Where you at? I think it's like the only state, I'm pretty sure, where you still have to have somebody else pump your gas. Because I'm in Illinois, man. Nobody's pumped my gas since I was like 8 years old. So one time, my roommate at the time had a friend come to town, and she was from Oregon, and we were riding with her, and got out of my car to pump the gas. She goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "What do you mean, what am I doing?" She goes, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What do you mean, what am I doing?" "What are you doing?" "I'm pumping my gas." "You mean you pump your own gas?" Yeah, like she couldn't believe I was pumping my own gas.
Right.
Outside of the state of Oregon. It was hilarious. Nonetheless, you have any sponsors yet or anything like that, or no?
No, actually working on getting sponsors. This is actually my first sponsor, which was a huge blessing for me. But in the meantime, just trying to learn and put myself out there to try to keep it going. It feels good, you know what I mean? And it was a blessing, and it was something that I definitely needed financially. So I appreciate it.
Well, Classic Physique has been a growing division for the last few years, and it's turned into one of my favorite divisions because I feel like bodybuilding is really coming back, because for a while there, we got away from posing routines. Competitors started to get the option to pose, and you see less and less posing routines. And in the bodybuilding division, like 25% of the guys are posed. And I like that it saves time off the end of a show, but it wouldn't be so bad to spend 90 seconds watching somebody who you don't know do a routine if the routine was worth watching. If a bodybuilder doesn't put any time or effort into his routine, then I don't really want to sit there for 60 or 90 seconds and extend that time on to the end of a show. But if it's a Classic Physique competitor, well, now you got to have the posing routines. That's all part of the equation. That's all part of the division, part of the guidelines. So you have to have that individual posing routine. How much time do you spend working on that? And do you do anything special with your routine?
A posing routine is something that takes a lot of time. You know what I mean? You just got to keep working on it every single day. Like you said, Richie was working every single day on his pose, and it's just something that you have to work on it as much as you do with your workouts. You know what I mean? And my last show, you may not be able to tell, but I actually messed up on my posing, but I was able to keep going with the music because I had practiced it so much that when I kind of got thrown off, I was like, okay, now I can jump back on it and do what I was supposed to be doing. But
Yeah.
you gotta take the posing just as serious as the workouts, because otherwise, it's a flaw. You know what I mean? If you don't have it.
Yeah. Well, you have to, because you can't just bring the best body. I mean, I've seen the best body get third place just because they didn't know how to show off their strengths and hide their flaws on stage. You got to get that posing part done, not just your individual routine, but you're also the mandatory routine as well. And it's easy to practice the mandatories because that's just a given. That's where most of the judging takes place at. And bodybuilders kind of learned somewhere that the routine doesn't matter as much when it comes to judging. But now classic physique, things are changing up a little bit because that posing does make a difference in your overall score. I think it's important for a classic physique competitor to do poses that they might not see from other competitors.
Right.
Do you have any poses like that are pretty rare that you won't find in other competitors, and you just kind of stick to the basic traditional bodybuilding poses?
I definitely try to hit different poses that show off my physique more. So now that the judges seen me hit side chest, a back double bi, front double bi, now I'm trying to show them something different that they haven't seen to make me look more superior than the next guy.
Yeah.
Some of my favorites, like I like to watch Terrence Ruffman. I don't even know half the names of the poses that he does just because he's just so good. And I've even took some stuff from Richie as well. I've been talking about him a lot just because, like I said, I'm watching him so much. And but yeah, he does stuff that I've never even seen before, and I don't even know the name of it. But I try to put that into my posing routine if it suits my body. If it doesn't, then we'll trash it.
Definitely. Yeah, it's got to suit the body. It's got to look right on you. You don't want to force it, that's for sure. But I think a classic physique competitor has an edge because you'll still see some bodybuilders do the classic physique division, but they'll pose like a normal blocky bodybuilder. And if you pose like a blocky bodybuilder in a classic physique class, it could probably get you a lower placing, most likely, especially if it's close. So classic physique competitors have to look like they have classic physiques. That's the thing. So you can't be a blocky bodybuilder in that sense. And so what on the transitions? I think that's something that a lot of competitors neglect. They get the poses down, but you got to look your best every second you're on stage, because you figure you're only on stage for a few minutes at a time during pre-judging. You only got that 60 or 90-second routine, and you dieted for months, right? So every single second you're on stage, you can't let the judges see you at anything less than your best. So you can't just let your pose go when the judges say relax, or you can't let your pose go in between poses. The transitions in between poses, you still got to look your best. And a lot of competitors neglect those transitions in between poses. Right. What do you do to work on those transitioning points from pose to pose?
So pretty much it goes based off of the music that I'm posing. The song that I choose to pose to, like if it's an aggressive beat, then I'll do like an aggressive transition. Or if it's something slower and I want it to be graceful, then that transition is different. And it also just goes by watching other people pose. Like I literally study other people's movements. Look how he moves from this pose to this pose and just makes it flow so well. You just got to be like a person that can see the little things. And someone who's not into bodybuilding, they may not see those transitions and how huge they are. But I'm literally dialed in on every hand movements are huge. So I'm looking at everything from head to toe of what they're doing during their transition. So like all that stuff's important.
Oh, you hear that? Brandon Lirio, Richie Lopez, he's studying you. He's watching. He's watching. You're going to see him on stage. It's going to be some good stuff. Yeah, Brandon let go of his poses a lot. He still got the win last year, but he relaxed a lot while he was on stage. Maybe it didn't affect him so much with that particular day. But I'm kind of big on making sure you don't, because if it's really close, if I'm judging the show, if it's really close and one competitor lets go of his poses too often, or lets go of his thighs too often, or something like that, if it's really close, I'll be okay. Well, he's got a superior posing routine and superior mandatory poses, so I'll give this guy the win. So I wasn't judging that day, but that's the kind of thing I look for. If it's super, super close and you can't really decide who should get the win, it comes down to who's posing better, who's holding the poses better. So that would be an edge. If Brandon doesn't correct that, that could help give you an edge over him, possibly, depending on what everybody's looking for that day. Anything else you want to add? Any shout outs you want to give or anything like that right now?
Yeah, just my family and like I said, everyone that voted. Like that was huge for me. That's what got me here, and I'm just gonna keep working and climbing my way to the top until I get to the top of that ladder. So
Okay. Just I'm starting something kind of new here. I want to ask off the wall questions that people wouldn't typically ask on a natural bodybuilding show. You talked earlier about energy drinks. I'm big on my energy drinks too, but I've been bigger on them. I try to cut back on them some. A lot of times at the gas station, I buy one because I only drink one a day, if that. But they'll say, well, if you buy one, the third one's free, or you can get two
exactly.
price of one, or something stupid. I'm like, no, it's a great deal, but I don't want to drink 2 or 3 in one day. I'll stick to my one. So I don't really get that deal. What kind of energy drinks do you drink?
I love Raise Energy. I've been drinking that for like the past year now, and like they're coming out with new flavors and stuff all the time, and it's just really good. So I definitely have to go with Raise Energy. So
yeah, there's a lot of energy drinks are the rage now. There's like whole cooler sections filled with these energy drinks now.
right.
Let's see. Do you think Drew Brees is going to retire this year?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Because he negotiated his contract. He's taking lower pay. So that tells me that he's probably going to stay on board. Tom Brady's still playing. I think Tom Brady's older than Drew Brees. So Drew's not even the oldest quarterback in the league. I think every great fighter has one big fight left in him. And I think Drew Brees has one in him. So we'll see. Who's your favorite football team?
I like the Eagles, Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah. They just had Carson Wentz, right? Didn't they just get rid of Carson Wentz recently?
Yeah, Carson Wentz went to the Colts. He should do good there, but I like our backup quarterback, so we'll see.
Who's your backup quarterback then?
Jalen.
Oh, Jalen. Yeah, Jalen Hurts. Okay. I played fantasy football, so I've heard his name. I didn't have him on my team, so I did hear that name quite. I know he was hot last year, so Jalen's going to be the starter for the Eagles this year. Do you play fantasy football at all?
No, so I played fantasy football 1 year, and it didn't work out good at all. So after that, I was like, no, I don't like this game.
Well, because it does take a lot of time, and especially for you being in school, you got the family and all that. Competing, it takes up a lot of time if you really want to do good at it. And I don't really have time to do all the research either. I just kind of play for fun. I've been with the same group of guys for the last 13 years. So I've been to the Super Bowl twice, but never won. So I'm still going for that. Do you gamble on anything? You go to the casinos or play poker or gamble on anything like that, or no?
No, I don't. Yeah, no, that's not up my alley. I don't do that.
Not up your alley. Okay.
No.
What about concerts? What concerts have you been to?
So Kevin Gates is actually my favorite music artist. I've been to 2 of his concerts, so that was pretty cool.
Okay, good stuff. And let's say you pro wrestling fan.
I used to be a huge pro wrestling fan. Shawn Michaels and Jeff Hardy were my favorite wrestlers.
Yeah, I love Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
I just watched him last Sunday, Elimination Chamber match Jeff Hardy was in. I knew they weren't going to make him the champion, but he always makes a match better.
Right.
You ever heard of Billy Jack Haynes?
That doesn't sound
He's
familiar.
from Oregon some year. Yeah, sometimes when I think Oregon, he always came out in green shorts, and he was from Oregon, and that's pretty much why I paid attention to Oregon. But yeah, he was way back in the day, but he was in the 80s. He was a big-time player in the game. So anyway, but I guess that's it. So we're into your next show. What other 6 shows do you got on the horizon? You already mentioned the Copper on March 27th. What other shows are on your radar this year that fans and viewers can possibly see you at?
Okay, so like I said, we have the breast cancer awareness May 22nd, Mr. America.
You're doing Mr. America this year?
Mr. America.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Jordan Cup, and then the Natural Olympia. So,
wow, that's a big year, man.
yeah.
So not only do you got the Jordan Cup and the Natural Olympia, you also got the Mr. America too. What made you decide to do Mr. America? Just for the prestige of going for the prestigious title of Mr. America, or what else got you on board with that?
So I actually I didn't know anything about the Mr. America. I actually saw an ad for it that came up on my Instagram, and I looked at it and I was just like, wow, this is crazy. And then just even having a thought to be named Mr. America, like it struck an interest right away, and I followed him, and then I started to look at more in depth into the show, and I was just like, yeah, I definitely got to do this. I have to do it. So
wow,
nice. It's on my list now.
So you seen an ad on Instagram for Mr. America, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, hey, Mark Turriello, good work, man. Getting the word out. Your ad on Instagram paid off. That's right. That's going to be a hot show this year, man. We'll be talking more about that in the weeks to come. I'll be out there at the Mr. America, and they got some big plans for the Mr. America this year. So I'm excited to be there as well, and that's going to be one of the highlights for me this year because I got that show on my map. So if I don't see you before the Mr. America, I should see you at the Mr. America. But we'll talk more about that as the weeks come because once the season gets hot, man, it's going to take off, and that's going to be one of the hottest shows of the year. And I think it's going to be an organization. Mark Turriello is going to have that show for quite a while in the years to come. But yeah, if you have the chance to go for the Mr. America title, you got to take it. And you're going to have the opportunity. The weekend of October 8th through the 10th is when that show is taking place. Right. So look that up. Look up Mr. America online. Look up Mark Turriello and get some more information on that show. Any other shout outs you want to give before we end this show?
Thanks for having me on there, man. It's awesome. Can't wait to meet you.
Well, hey, your fans got you on here because they voted you in number one competitor to watch in 2021. So your fans helped get you there because without them, we wouldn't have had you on the show. So, but now we're on the radar. We know who you are now, and we're going to see a lot of you, man. You're going to find out where you stand this year. What kind of improvements do you think? Because you're going to be the Orton Cup and the National Olympia. What do you think? What's the one muscle group you think you need to work on in order to place towards the top of the pro division?
I would say there's a couple of muscle groups. I don't want to give too much of my weaknesses.
Yeah, let's keep the secrets to us. You know?
But my hamstrings and my arms.
Yeah, I think hamstrings are the most neglected muscle group in all of physique competition. It doesn't matter whether it's figure, women's physique, bodybuilding, classic physique. It does not matter. It's always the hamstrings. I don't really know why. I guess it's because that's the muscle you see the least of, because you're not exactly looking behind you, and it's just a hard muscle group to see how it's coming along. And I think a lot of people do hardcore squats, hard leg presses, hard lunges, but they don't really target those hamstrings. They usually do a few sets of lying leg curls at the end. So you really gotta I like doing hamstrings before thighs. That way I put more effort into it, and even doing hamstrings on its own separate day. That way you can just really annihilate those hamstrings with like 3 or 4 different moves. Stiff-legged deadlifts. I got a unilateral leg curl here at my gym. That was the first piece I bought. When I took this gym over, the first piece I bought that we didn't already have was a unilateral leg curl because I know most gyms only have lying leg curls, so I wanted more than just a lying leg curl. Let's talk about your hamstring routine real quick, and then we'll end this episode. So what do you do what's a typical hamstring workout look like for you?
So what I do, for my legs, is I'll break them up. So I'll do a hamstring focus one day and then quad the other day. So on my hamstring days, I'll hit every hamstring machine in there, really make that my focus. And then I'll go to leg press, getting my feet high up on there. Nice. RDLs, different variations of RDLs. I'll use a barbell, switch to dumbbells, and just focus on that squeeze. I'm tearing them up every single time I'm in there. I know that that's my bad spot, so I need to bring them up, and I don't want that to be a reason for why I lose or why another guy beats me. So I'm really, really dialed in to focus on it. So
yeah, don't lose the show because of your hamstrings. If you have the best hamstrings in your class, you're most likely going to place in the top 2. Because most of the time, third place and on doesn't have hamstrings that match their thighs. So if you just have the best hamstrings in your class, you're most likely going to place at the top. But that's impressive that you thrash your hamstrings first, then you go to leg presses, put the feet up higher to target the back of the legs more, but then the muscles surrounding the thighs are fatigued. It's like they're forced to work harder since you already pre-exhausted them before you did the leg presses with your feet up high in the platform. So that's a good one there to target those hamstrings. Okay, well, that's enough. You've seen it all here. This has been another edition of Inside Natural Bodybuilding. This right here you're looking at him is your number one competitor to watch in 2021, and so far he's undefeated. So we're going to see if we can keep that party going. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. This has been Vince Sanders. I'm Mike Newman. Thanks for watching Inside Natural Bodybuilding.
See ya.